Hey guys, it's Mike with another Guild Guardians video. We're going to do a recap on the Jadey event for both the main account and the free-to-play and just kind of give some final thoughts on the Full House event. The Jadey event itself is technically still going on because we can still summon her at the area of sacrifice, and if you happen to have calling crystals, that's still a live event in the summon pool. I was taking a peek at the potential pulls that you get here. So there's only 4 legendaries that you can get out of the calling crystals. Grizel is probably going to be the best legendary to pull in the game right now, unless you're actively trying to build Atticus, Thorid, or any of them. But I think Grizel is pretty much the only legendary most people are using at this point in time. So her being in there is kind of a big win if you are going to pull your calling crystals trying to get Jadey. She is a fantastic healer. I think if you haven't caught my video on her heals versus Flix versus Aquirus, it's a great kind of insight into the differences of each of their kits, but she is a great healer in the game, and if that's what you need, it could be worth going for her. So with that being said, I really enjoyed the Full House event. I thought it went really smoothly. It was really engaging and fun. I did on my main account actually reset on day 4, and I had 26 continues or something like that to get through in a day, and it was excessive. But had I put my team together properly from day 1 or even changed my mind on day 2, it would have been far more achievable to roll through those extra continues. And then having had the opportunity to go back, I would have also purchased the extra 2 continues each day just to press my account a little bit further along. But I ended up getting into room 215. That was the best I did. I maxed out the event. They were giving rewards all the way up to clearing level 200. And then in the final rewards that I did receive on the Full House event on the main account, I finished in 229th spot. So I did get bumped down below. I think from 200 up was another 5 and maybe another 100,000 gold. But I did get bumped down below the 200, so I was a little disappointed on that. But that's okay. You know, I had a great time with the event. There might be other rewards attached to this as well. I think I read something about potentially having idols that you can sacrifice in the altar of sacrifice and get some cool things in there. And I'm not sure. I don't think there's any GOG tokens or anything like that that are going to be associated to this event specifically, but I am anxious to see if any other rewards are given out on the Full House event. So if we switch over to the free-to-play account, we can jump in here and see what we did. Oh, we got our endless stuff too, so that's pretty fun. And then arena, so we got 800 tokens there, and Full House, here we go. So we ended up in 337th spot on the free-to-play account, which I think is pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. Making top 500, not having spent any money in the game at all, I think is a huge win. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is what I thought went really well about the Jadey event or the Full House event. I think that giving us the opportunity to actually play with the character was a major win. That was a great idea. We got to engage with the character, see how she works, how her heals work. It was a really incredible way for us all to get our hands on her and feel affected by the event. It also gives us the opportunity to know whether or not she's worth the investment and whether or not we wanted to go for her or use our calling crystals or whatever the case is. So I thought that was a huge win. I thought that starting everybody from the same playing field was also a really cool win. I don't think every event every time should be that way. I think sometimes those events should reward the players that have been here a long time, that have the better gear, have the better guardians, all that stuff. But this particular event, having everybody start from the same place with the same gear and the same character base for the most part, I think was really balancing out the playing field. You still had the advantage for the pay-to-win folks that wanted to go buy the Tavros or buy the Conrays and all those guys. But for the most part, as a free-to-play player, you could really, push yourself up these leaderboards to a respectable level. And I think that was a huge win as well. The actual gameplay mode I thought was pretty engaging. It was fun. It was well thought through. One of the things I noticed is the very first level of each of the groups of 10 gave you quite a bit of experience, so that if you got stuck on the first room, and it was easy. So if you beat the boss of the previous room, you were going to beat that first room almost for sure with your full team. And once you beat them, you get a lot of experience I think it would level you up every single time. And then the next room would also give you experience and was easy. The third room was an arsenal where you could get more gear. And then the next room, is that fifth room, was the first challenging room. So if you got stuck on that fifth room, every time you continued, you got to see progress on your account before you got back there. You got 2 levels of experience that were almost give me's, and then you got that first arsenal where you could get 1 or 2 pieces of gear depending on what popped up. So you could see some wins to get through and progress the account. If that wasn't well thought through, you could really get stuck in that first room where you barely beat the boss and you're just not powerful enough to beat that room, and you got to use 3, 4, 5 continues trying to beat that room, or you're not gaining enough experience and you're not getting enough gear to see progress to beat the fifth room. So I think they did a great job kind of balancing that out. That being said, on room 115 specifically, and it may just be me, it did feel like we should have started getting tier 4 gear prior to that room, because I was stuck there for way too long. I think I literally burned 5 to 7 continues on that room. So it could be the team I had. I prepared for the boss more than I prepared for that really heavy big wave team. So it could have just been the team that I put together. I needed more AoE damage, which I definitely feel that's true. Having Qatari on my free-to-play, it kind of spoiled me in that room. The fifth room definitely wasn't as challenging as it was on my main account. But the boss was significantly more challenging on my free-to-play than it was on my main account. And I think that's just due to Conray. It was an absolute beast in this event. So I think a lot of things overall went very well for the event, and kudos to Immutable. You did a great job. This was definitely a better launch than Tamamo, and it really gets me excited for future events that we're going to do. Some constructive criticisms I have on it. I do think as a free-to-play player, the rewards that you got for getting to level 200 were a little bit shy. I think that to get to level 200 was going to be an uphill battle, specifically for a free-to-play player, as I think I got to room 190. I don't think I beat 190. I died in the boss on room 190 on the free-to-play account. But had I got to room 200, I think it could have been cool to have 30 calling crystals as the reward. So I'm not guaranteed a JD with 30 calling crystals unless I did some upfront thought and said, hey, I'm going to stack up calling crystals ahead of time. Because with 60, you had the guarantee, which was another great thing I forgot to mention. That you offered the guarantee with 60 calling crystals, I think is a huge win. And moving forward, that's going to change my strategy on a day-to-day basis about collecting calling crystals. I'm going to exclusively use my arena tokens to collect calling crystals, so that in the event a JD event launches where it's a character I really want to have, if I have 60 of them and they're guaranteed, I'm going to pull for them because I want that character. And it kind of incentivizes me to save up those calling crystals to do that. Hopefully they continue to do that, because they change the events all the time, so it might not be something that comes back next time, but I would be a huge advocate for it. I think that was an awesome way to engage with a free-to-play player that wants to engage with the game, because it's going to take daily activity to put together 60 calling crystals. But for those folks that want to go do that, they should be rewarded for being in your game for every day to accumulate those resources. So I think that is really cool. That being said, on the rewards, had you beat level 200, which was the maximum reward that you got, I think 30 calling crystals there that gave you the opportunity to get the champion, or even 15 or 10 or some sort of big reward would have been awesome. Also potentially giving Callisto, the epic character. If you wanted to be super generous, you could make Jadey be the reward at 200. So basically anybody that gets to that level pulls a Jadey. I think that would be a concern of flooding the market with her and kind of devaluing her as a player. But I think the opportunity to get her or some sort of grand reward would be pretty cool. When we came into the individual rewards on the leaderboards, I think I can't remember how many calling crystals you got in first place, but hopefully it was 60, because that would basically say if you win this event, you can get a JD. For sure, guaranteed 60 calling crystals, you can get her, which I think would have been pretty cool, and it's not going to flood the market with JDs, because I don't know how many groups are running, but even if there's several hundred groups, you're not going to get that many JDs in there, and there are going to be people that win those calling crystals and prefer not to pull for her. So that is a thing too. But ultimately, I think the awards for free to play could have been a little bit better, but the event itself was incredibly fun. I had a great time with it, and I look forward to seeing. Now, I also haven't seen the extent of all the rewards potentially, because I know some of the rewards come in on the back end through the immutable passport, like the idols and potential GOG tokens and stuff like that, which I'm not sure that any of those are coming through the Full House event or not. That would be some more feedback, is I think being more transparent of exactly what the rewards are, because I know in the building blocks event I was really confused there too. I ended up with a rare idol and I had no idea how I even got it, and I'm pretty sure I got it through the building blocks event, but I didn't know. And when the GOG tokens came into my account, I had no idea how many to expect or what they were coming from. I think those were actually from an endless a monthly endless cycle, I believe, but I didn't know ahead of time how many I was receiving for what rank and whether or not I should push to go harder or any of that. So I think if there was a way to bring that in game, I know that there's complications with putting the actual GOG token in game, but if there was just something that said, hey, if you make this bracket, these are the GOG tokens that will go to your immutable passport, assuming you've set it up. Something like that, where you just are a little more clear about all of the rewards that you're going to receive. But ultimately, I feel like the game's moving in the right direction. A lot of progress is happening. They had the August town hall meeting. I've got a video of that coming out, I believe, tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. So all in all, 2 thumbs up on the Jadey event. I really appreciate Immutable's effort in this event. I think it really shows and comes through to the community. And I appreciate you guys spending the time with me here today. And I look forward to seeing you next time.